I'm going to trace out a diagram of a pineapple. This is the printed copy of the pineapple diagram. First thing I'll do in Logic Trace is I'll select the 4 points, define my workspace by touching the 4 corners of the diagram. You can see here on the paper diagram where I touched those 4 outer corners. The first tracing command I'll select to be the line command. Shown here, I'm using a red pencil to mark off where I start my tracing. Also, these red marks keep track of what I've traced. Keep track of what you've traced, where you've started and where you stopped is important because you don't want a crossed vector. If you get a crossed vector, then you end up having to edit that out after you're finished. I used the line command for the whole project because the segments of the pineapple there are all pretty well straight lines, so it's easy tracing. Using Logic Trace here is fast and easy. Here's a good spot to talk about saving your work. I save my work frequently. The program has a unique feature that it saves 2 copies. It saves the copy you select the format, like DXF, and it also saves a working copy. That work copy is a TLG format, and you pull that up by selecting the options. What that means is you could take a break or say pick up tracing the next day. All you do is you load in that work copy, the TLG copy, and just carry on. Getting close now to finishing up with all the tracing, so I'll go ahead and save my file. I'm going to save it in an SVG format for Shaper Origin. Shown here, I've got Shaper Origin and the workstation set up for the engrave. My workpiece shown here is Bird's Eye Maple Live Edge. The SVG file is loaded into Shaper Origin to the side port there. It's a USB port, a USB-C, which is new in Shaper Origin Generation 2. That port is located on the right-hand side. So it's just a matter of following the diagram on the screen and pushing that green button to select the bit to go down to do the engraving. As each section is completed, the bit will retract, or you can retract it also. It took me about 10 minutes to engrave a 7 by 14 inch diagram. You can't get a bit tense following that diagram on the screen because you're trying to do a real good job and not be too shaky. The dotted line with no color is what you're following, and after it's engraved it turns blue. What amazes me is that Shaper Origin will not damage your workpiece. It'll retract very quickly. Here you can also see on the left-hand side the bit depth. You're on the line, and it's a 1/4 inch engraving bit. And over at the top there it shows that domino. That's your ID tape. If that domino icon turns red, that means that Shaper Origin needs to be orientated towards that ID tape. You got to keep that facing the tape at all times. So in other words, you're always keeping that router facing that ID tape. I've removed shaper origin from the workpiece, and you can see there it turned out good. Gave it a bit of a sanding, and then I gave it a coat of red acrylic paint. Then I sanded it again, and I gave it 4 coats of lacquer. The pineapple looks good.